Hey folks, it's Arthur, but really only strangers call me that. My friends, family call me Archie, so please call me Archie. This podcast is sponsored by you. If you have a more personal situation you want me to give my in-depth commentary on, send me an email at askarchiedating@gmail.com. I'm thankful for all donations that keep this channel running. All right, guys, without further ado, let's get into it. So I was emailing someone this morning, and they asked me a good question, right? And it's a question that I think I've heard many times. There's a lot of people that are talking about this online. And the question is, should I get my ex back, right? Should I go back to my ex? What can I do to get my ex back? There's a lot of people that are looking into this topic. And one of the main culprits of this is anxiety, right? I think it's important to go deep into this question. What does it mean when a person says, can I get my ex back? Should I go and get my ex back? What can I do to get my ex? What is this person trying to communicate, right? Let's say that, we'll paint a scenario here. Let's say that a person has had a breakup, right? That they were dating for, we'll just say like very random, right? A person was dating for a year. It was a good relationship. Everything seemed to be going right. Of course, there were some up and downs, but they were both working for the same goals. And all of a sudden, New Year's Eve, something happens and she gets a bit upset with you. 2-3 weeks down the road, has broken up with you, right? And so now you're wondering to yourself, hey, we had these future plans. We were going to move in together. We were going to, this summer go on a vacation. And you had these future plans together, right? And so the person is wondering to themselves, should I get my ex back? Can I get my ex back? Most of the time when I see this question being asked, you have to look a bit deeper. What does it mean when they are trying to say this? It usually comes from a place of anxiety, okay? This is a really, really interesting point here, okay? Most of the ex-back, garbage that is on YouTube and other channels and on the internet, they are offering insane prices to people because they are really, really, really focusing on that anxiety, that feeling of like, I need this person back in my life, okay? And they are profiting from this feeling, okay? And I don't agree with this business model, okay? I don't think that it's a good idea, right? Because you're essentially manipulating a person to give you money, right? And I see this often from people that have told me that they've done these programs or something like that and it's not working for them. And, honestly, I really, really dislike these companies that are doing this, right? And so after a person has been broken up with, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. Questions of, what will I do tomorrow? People look into the future and they say, I made a future with this person. I was planning on having a future with this person, and now I don't know what tomorrow looks like, right? They say, I thought I had a life with this person. I thought we were going places. I thought that she loved me, and they're looking to the past, and it's uncertain what was happening in the past. Obviously, they were living a different experience than I was, because for me, I thought our relationship was doing okay. So they have questions about the past and they have questions about the future. When you're in this mindset of looking into the future and wondering what's going to happen into the future and looking into the past and wondering what happened in my past, this does one thing. It doesn't allow you to live in the present. You are constantly living in the future and constantly living in the past. I've heard people say, and I really, really like this idea, that a person feels anxiety when they live in the future and they feel depressed when they live in the past. I really, really resonate with that. It is this action of not being present. You're concerned, you wonder, why am I feeling so depressed? Well, make a note, make a list of the things that you're thinking about, right? This will give you a really, really good indicator of why you're feeling a certain way. If you're feeling really anxious, most likely you're thinking a lot about the future. If you're feeling really depressed, most likely you're thinking a lot about the past. There are some exceptions, there are people who struggle with obviously mental health disorders, and this doesn't have so much to do with that. But I'm talking generally speaking, after you've gone through a breakup, these feelings of depression and these feelings of anxiety are normal. It is normal to be a bit confused about the future once your plans have changed. It is normal to be confused about the past once something that you weren't expecting happened, right? You have this vision. We're together, we're going to do this, and it's kind of has a trajectory, right? But then all of a sudden something happens and the trajectory has changed. This is going to leave you confused about what just happened. You're going to have to reanalyze what just happened, right? And so it is very, very common. It's very, very normal. I want to make sure that everyone knows that. It's very, very normal to feel anxious and to feel depressed after a breakup. You know, how long you do this for, this is another question. It really depends on you, right? How long does it take for you to feel uncertain about the future? How long does it take for you to feel depressed about the past, right? This depends on how much you're living in the present. After a breakup, you should reflect, right? I tell this to all my clients, and I think it really helps them. Obviously, everyone is going to have their own way of assessing with a breakup, and I think that that's perfectly fine, and that's great. I think a good way, a good strategy, a good protocol to deal with a breakup is to assess what has just happened. Write things down. What was your experience like? You know, what are some lessons that you learned? What are some things that you expected and some things that you didn't expect, right? Try to reanalyze the past. Try to figure out the past. You know, part of the reason why you're doing this is because you don't want to repeat this situation in the future. I see this happen often, that someone leaves a relationship and then they go into a relationship that is so similar. They're not learning from these past experiences. So think of it as a good thing. Think of it as an opportunity, this feeling of thinking about the past as an opportunity to learn from the past. And the more you ignore these feelings to think about the past, the more you're scrolling through social media or you're distracting yourself with alcohol or whatever it is, the more you're not learning from this experience. Take a minute and just be, honest and be a bit objective about what has happened. Take this time to not judge yourself harshly, to just try and understand. Try and understand what has happened. Try and understand the person you're with. Try and understand yourself. Try and understand what has led you to this moment in time. And this is going to help you to not relive this in the future. The anxiety, you're wondering what's going to happen in the future. How could you have a good estimate of what your future looks like if your past has some holes in it that you need to resolve, you need to figure out? So make sure you go back and you learn from your past, and then you project a future that is the one that you want. The people who are asking, can I have my ex back? Should I get my ex back? They understandably are having an emotional difficulty with what is happening. But it is important to take this opportunity for what it is worth and understand. And if you can reevaluate the past and say, okay, yeah, this I can do better. This, I want a partner who does this a bit better. You're going to learn from this experience, and the majority of the people who go through this experience and learn from the past, they usually want a different partner. Because whether you want to believe it or not, your partner has contributed to this relationship not working, right? They have a contribution. And so, yeah, of course, it's important to be honest with yourself and say, how did I contribute to this relationship not working? But also be honest, and how did they contribute to the relationship not working? What should I expect from a person in the future? If you do want to go and get your ex back, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be with a person, right? But make sure that you're learning from this previous experience. And when you go and make this effort to reconnect with your ex, make sure you've learned and you're applying what you've learned. Don't allow yourself to go back into the things that have happened in your previous life. For example, let's say that you were both disrespectful to each other. Be a person in the future who is not disrespectful to your partner, and require that from your partner as well. If you are in a position where you are going to get your ex back, talk about those things. look, there were some broken things in our relationship before, some things that weren't ideal, some things that were hurting both of us, and it caused us to not see each other in our own future anymore. She didn't see you in her future, or you didn't see her in the future anymore. And so this has caused you to break up. But if you can realign yourself and you can say, this is what I'm expecting of a future relationship, don't take, if you're wanting to get your ex back, don't ask for the same relationship you had before. It didn't work. You're broken up for a reason. Something led to this breakup. If you're wanting to try again with this person, it's totally fine. If they are wanting to have a relationship that will work. Think of this like a new relationship, even if it's with the same person. Maybe this has happened to you in your life, and it doesn't just apply to your relationship in terms of a romantic partner, but it could apply to friends and to family. There are people who they step out of line, they disrespect you, or they disrespect your family, or what have you. And this person isn't bad. You don't need to shut him out of your life. You don't need to say, I don't want to even be in contact with you anymore. It's not so necessary. But what you do have to do is you should reevaluate what kind of relationship you want to have, what kind of relationship you would feel good having, and then impose those boundaries, those healthy boundaries on that person. If you have, for example, a mother or a father who is extremely possessive or something like that, it's okay to take a step back, reevaluate, what would I like my relationship with this person to look like? Write it down. And then go back and say, I want to have a relationship with you, but I want it to look like this. And if you're sharing the same vision with your family member, with your romantic partner, with your ex-romantic partner, what have you, then this is something that could work in the future. This is something that you see yourself enjoying in the future. That's what I'm trying to get at. Put yourself in a situation where you are going to experience a good environment. Don't put yourself back in a situation where a person maybe isn't valuing you, isn't respecting you. Take time to learn from this experience, grow from this experience, re-engage, and get back out there. Build a future that you can see yourself thriving in, and you have the power to do this. Trust yourself that you can come up with a future that is good for you. And remember, you're enough, and you're going to be okay.